Hey guys, Ecom here. I'm going to give a quick tutorial on how I use the Spyderco Sharpmaker. Now, it might necessarily be the right way. To be honest, I never even looked at the instructions. I've gone off a few tutorials myself of how other people do it, and I kind of made my own method. And you're not just limited to that V shape that the stones have here. We'll show you in a second. You can almost get into bench sharpening. Almost. We'll get into that in a minute. But for right now, we have the Kershaw 1860 piston. And as you can see, it is dull. I mean, I'm pushing pretty hard and that is not going anywhere. Butter knife dull. But we're going to put an edge on it that'll slice foam book paper and pop hair. So let me get the camera adjusted and we'll get started. We have our piston here, and first things first, you got the 30-degree side and the 40-degree side. Now, you might be guessing, well, which one do I use? I don't know. Every knife's different. So we're going to do something that's going to tell us. Just get a plain old Sharpie marker, and you're going to mark the bevel. So this very edge here. Don't worry about it if you get it everywhere. It'll come off with some rubbing alcohol, no problem. But this, yeah, as I make a huge mark on the blade, but that's alright. We'll take that off with some alcohol. Now, yeah, we'll show you the clean side. You see there? That's all you need to do. Just something like that. You see I made a huge mess on this side, but that'll come right off with alcohol. Now what this is going to do is, as we're getting in here, we want to see if we're taking steel off the entire spot of the marker. You don't want it just on the very, very edge. Then your angle is too deep. And if you're getting up into the grind, you definitely don't want that. Then your angle is way too shallow, and you're going to end up scratching the crap out of your knife. So let's avoid that. Alright, so for now, you got your blade marked up. I'm in the 30-degree side. Now this knife has been reprofiled at one point. I like my knives a little thinner, a little sharper. But either side, if it doesn't work on this side, you could change sides, change angles. The marker will tell you where to go. Trust the marker. Okay, let's bring you in nice and close here. Now, do you notice I don't hold it traditionally either. I kind of hold it like a pencil. See that? And what I do is, because it's I'm not sitting very high above it, I'm not standing, I'm sitting down, I look down the spine, almost as if kind of like side alignment when you're shooting. So I'll look down the spine, hold it like a pencil there, get right into the heel, all the way back, and keep it nice and aligned, drag it down the stone, leave the tip on the stone, come back up, keeping it nice and aligned. Doesn't have to be perfect, but get it close. Down and up, leave that tip on. Don't pull the tip off because you will round it, and you don't want that. Now what you're going to do is just a couple of passes. You don't go crazy, no gorilla pressure or anything like that. And now we're going to look at the bevel. See where the marker's gone? It's kind of hard to tell because I made a big sloppy mess with the marker, but it's coming off exactly where we want it. See? We didn't touch this side yet. We'll get to that. But now that I know that one side is right, it should be right on the other side as I smack the camera. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to continue on this side. Put your up and down, all the way to the heel, all the way to the tip. Stopping on the stone, nice and straight. And what we're going to do is we're going to keep going until we form a burr. Now to check for a burr, so let's say, I don't know, let's call it 10 passes. So I'm going to go the 10 passes. I don't know what the count is right now, but let's pretend that's 10 passes. And the side opposite the side you were grinding on, you're going to check for a burr. So on this side, the clean side, you want to drag your fingers along here on the edge, drag them down like this, and you'll feel a little ridge all the way down the length of the blade. You're going to check all over the place. You'll feel a little ridge. I don't have it yet. If you don't feel the little ridge yet, that little catch on the end, keep going. You will get one eventually. The harder the steel, the longer it's going to take. This is your plain old Sandvik steel from Kershaw. So let's keep going. Nice and aligned, up and down. Now, if your angle gets a little screwy, not the end of the world. Keep on going. You just don't want to do something like this. You know, that's way off. You're going to end up scratching your knife. And don't do this. You're going to kill your edge. Straight. That's all. Now, let's get started here. I don't bother with the triangular side of the stone, I guess the apex of the triangle. I stick with just the flat sides, and I just work it like this. And after we form a burr on this side, we'll get this nice and sharp. You'll be surprised. You can get it pretty sharp off the coarse stones, which that's what this is. Let's feel for that burr again. Starting to get one. It's getting there. All right. Hopefully, hopefully, when I dulled this knife, I didn't go too crazy with it. All right. So continuing it on, all the way down to the tip. Oh, came off there. So not the end of the world. Now, like with any sharpening system, you want to practice. So if you have your favorite knife and you spent $1 million on the thing and it means the world to you, don't practice on that one. Practice on a cheap one, just in case. I mean, this sharpening system is pretty straightforward. But don't practice on your favorite. That you know you're gonna lose your mind if you put a scratch on it. Okay. All right, now we're starting to feel a little bit of a burr. I don't know if you guys can hear that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to switch sides, and as you can see, it took the marker off exactly where I wanted it to. A nice, clean, even bevel. Alright, see that? We'll switch sides until we get a burr on the other side now. So get nice and aligned. I look down the spine like I'm side alignment on a gun when you're shooting. Straight down and straight up. Let's see. So now we're going to feel on the opposite side. We're sharpening this side, so we're going to feel on this side. Do we have a burr? A little bit forming already, and you can see it's taking off that marker. I was a little more careful when I put the marker on this side. It's taking it off a lot more evenly. Now, it'll also tell you where you need to work on it. Maybe I'm not getting in close enough to the heel, as you can see. The heel has plenty of marker on it when the rest of the blade into the belly and everything is it's all taken care of. So I got to focus on that heel a little bit. So we'll go back in. What you'll do is, since the heel is a trouble spot, I won't pull back. So you're going to pull down and back. That's your typical stroke. So now I'll, without pulling back, I'll go down halfway, then pull back. That's a trouble spot for me. So muscle memory, I did it the original way. So go down, pull back, down, pull back. Make it a nice fluid motion. You never want to do this. Sharpen one spot at a time. You always, if you have to focus, you can spend a tiny bit more time on it and then pull back, but you always want to do complete strokes or you're going to put little microscopic steps in the blade, and you don't want that. So we'll go back to doing it. Focus a little more on the heel, and that is nice and clean now. Now don't mind, I know it looks sloppy yet, but this is, remind you, it's a coarse stone, and we're going to clean that up with the fine stone and the strop in a minute. Alright, now let's check for a burr. Do this on camera so you guys can see it. Little bit. So now what we're going to do, now I don't count passes until now. Now we had a burr on both sides, so we've honed the edge a little bit more. So what I'm going to do now is I will do 10 passes on this side, 10 on this side, 5, 5, and so on. And we're going to keep doing that and test after that. So we'll do 10, 5, or 10, 10, 5, 5, and I don't know, 3, 3, and then we'll test to see if it's any better. You want to have a good edge from here. It'll make your life a lot easier on the fine stones. Feel the edge is starting to come back a little bit here. We want to test it on some phone book paper, and it should at least cut something and maybe not rip it. Get you guys on camera. Let's move this guy out of the way. It's getting there. It's still ripping. There we go. But much better than when we started. So now we got a pretty good edge. You can touch it up further from here, but for the sake of a video, for the sake of a shorter video, we're gonna move right on to the fine stones.